हेलो हेलो। आवाज आ रही है? क्लियर है? हेलो हेलो।
And so this year, they're not decided. More time it depends here. Yeah, we didn't have the meeting.
Hello.
in Mumbai.
हेलो हेलो।
Start it was there was supposed to be a meeting today. Got cancelled.
आवाज आ रही है? हेलो हेलो। नहीं नहीं, आवाज आ रहा है?
इधर दिख रहा
उधर आ
है
रहा है ना? हेलो, इधर चाहिए ना आवाज, लेकिन अरे नहीं, उधर आवाज आ रहा है ना?
हाँ।
इधर पे खाली स्क्रीन देखना है, और इधर पे बोलने के लिए इससे बोल सकते हैं डायरेक्ट। हेलो हेलो। एक मिनट चेक कर लेते हैं इससे।
चेक कर लेते हैं। The next month, but we have maritime security, cyber security.
हेलो
But now
अवेलेबल।
it's एक सर से बात करो. Hello, good evening everyone. Violence on both.
हेलो, वी आर अवेलेबल।
Anything on harassment and bullying? That we are. Good evening.
हेलो, ऑडिबल।
Good evening everyone. Good evening Captain CMMI.
ऑडिबल
Good evening
अवेलेबल।
Captain Nayak. Good
हेलो,
evening
कैन यू हियर अस?
and other attacking human element.
उसमें आवाज नहीं आ रही।
And then I'm going to talk about fatigue.
फिर ना?
And finally, training for enforcement. Okay, Captain Nayak. There's a lot more to talk, but this is just key things which we are not going to talk very soon. YouTube ची ओके सर्वांना पण पाठवलं ते मला पण काय खेळायला हाय ऑल हाँ वो हॉस्पिटल से लेके बाद में सिटी स्कैन करवाए अभी कल हम लोग डॉक्टर ठीक है राइट ये इनका सेटअप एमएससी का सेटअप है ना तो वी हैव टू एक्सप्लेन व्हाट शुड बी व्हाट इज दैट बिकॉज़ so he's doing some technical you are just doing the camera this one so इधर है और हमको कांटेक्ट हेलो 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 yeah checking all that now still really doing for checking Okay, 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 okay. I will call you. I will call you back.
सर आपके ऐड हुए क्या? शशि कुमार
हाँ
ऐड हुए क्या सर?
क्या
सर ऐड हुए शशि कुमार?
सर क्या
शशि कुमार कौन है?
हाँ वो बाहर है
वो ऐड वही ऐड हो रहे हैं क्या?
हाँ वही वो ऑलरेडी है वी कैन चेक विद हिज रिमोट
हेलो, am I audible? हेलो, हेलो ऑडिबल, हेलो हेलो।
मोठा का your family is all in this place. Now I'm going
हेलो 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 हेलो।
Sir, I got yes.
There is a echo. Please check that. Echo आ रहा है.
Yes, we are checking. What? हेलो हेलो, ऑडियबल सर? अभी को आ रहा है? हेलो, परफेक्ट। परफेक्ट है ना सर? कुछ बोलिए सर। हेलो, हम सर को बोलिए ना कुछ बोलने के लिए। नहीं सर को बोलने आप कुछ बोलिए यहाँ पे, नहीं तो अनम्यूट करके कुछ बोलिए। हेलो हेलो, यस हेलो, आ रहा है ना? क्लियर आ रहा है ना? नहीं, वो तो इधर है। आप आपका नाम से हाँ हाँ, मैं बोलता हूँ यहाँ से। नहीं नहीं नहीं।
तो ये इसको लगाना पड़ेगा स्पीकर को।
हेलो, आई एम ऑडिबल। छोटा सा ही है। बोलिए, आवाज आ रहा है ना? हेलो, आवाज आ रहा है? हेलो, मेरा आवाज आ रहा है क्या? लाउड एंड क्लियर। मेरा आवाज आ रहा है? हाँ, आपका क्लियर है। लाउड एंड क्लियर है ना? ओके।
एक मिनट कुमार। हेलो कुमार, वेट वेट, आई विल
ओके ओके।
टेल सर। हेलो। हाँ सर, अभी देखो, he is trying sir. He is taking time.
Yeah.
तो
Can
ऑडियबल
you
सर?
hear me?
क्लियर?
Yeah, loud and clear.
यस सर, आवाज क्लियर आ रहा
Loud and clear.
है। यस।
Can you just go back, right back? Go
राइट,
back, right back.
बैक।
Uh,
यस
yeah. Can you hear me?
यस, आई कैन हियर
Loud
यू।
and clear. Yeah,
यस,
thank you. Thank you.
ओके,
Check.
वेलकम। या, ठीक है, टेंशन खत्म हो गई है।
सर को Captain Mahapatra, can you hear me, sir? So you are muted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming online, sir.
Yeah.
और आपको वहां पे खड़ा होना होगा, मतलब कैमरा स्टार्ट, तो आप जब यहाँ पे उनको सामने वाले को आप क्लियर दिखाई देंगे।
और इससे ये हो जाए।
स्क्रीन शेयर करेंगे तो एक बार स्क्रीन शेयर करें।
क्या बटन किधर है?
लाइट पर। हाँ। उधर लाइट है। ऐसा था पहले तो एक करके देखिए। ऐसा बड़ा प्रेजेंट करना है। मेरे को ये लगा। हाँ, जब भी वो स्पीच देगा। कौन सा लगा था? ठीक है।
ठीक है, स्क्रीन शेयर किया।
एक खड़ा
देखिए अब जरा कुमार, इस तरह क्लियर।
Yes, it's clear, sir. It is clear. Screen is all okay.
Yes, Mr. Rajiv.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. We can see the screen.
दिख रहा है आपके उधर? आवाज भी loud and clear?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
So,
and screen also
Sudhir.
full screen.
Sudhir,
yes, sir.
the speaker I can't see at all. It is too small.
Yeah, it is. Now, can you see, sir?
I can't see the speaker. It's too small. Very far away.
Okay. Okay, sir. We'll
Maybe can he use your you know your camera on the laptop? Just give a try.
Yes, we'll switch it.
Then I will not be able to stand here.
Yes.
Yeah, better. That's okay. That doesn't matter. Can you just
One moment.
just a demo?
अरे वो गुमन का नाम क्या है? ये पास्ट अवे। दिखाओ मेरे को जरा, उसका पूरा नाम क्या है?
I don't know, Baba. Ask your dad.
What is his name? वो कंपनी उसी में है ना, ट्रैवल कंपनी। ट्रैवल अरेंजमेंट करता है वो कुमन है, कुमन।
हाँ, अभी दिख रहा है? Sir, can you see us?
Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Thank you.
When you are planning 29, hello. When you are planning 29 September, check the World Maritime Day is not on the same day.
हाँ, बंद.
Okay, Arvind, that looks good. Thank you. Same position.
Captain Naik sir, this 29 September, please check the last week of September. One day is World Maritime Day.
ठीक है, मैं बोलता हूँ.
Don't take me down.
So which day in World Maritime Day celebration in India we should check, because that day we should not ideally hold it. This is okay, but I can't.
वो लैपटॉप से join किया.
Yeah, normally it is the last Thursday of the September. Yeah, it is not 25th. It is the last Thursday of September. presentation. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. I thought it was a good call from the after the water flowing. Where are you talking about? Oh, not far. But have they agreed to be? Yeah. Same. Oh, later, that's Oh, he's not ready. No, he wants briefing.
आवाज देखिए क्लियर है आवाज मैंने जॉइन किया है आपका
People are reluctant. These people have already confirmed they are coming.
Maybe because of rain.
They might be scared. You know Ramaswamy Krishnan? Captain Arvind? You know Ramaswamy Krishnan?
No.
No.
No. No. Arvind, sir.
No, hi, Captain. You are still with the UKPSC or no?
No. UK PSCO was my previous employment. Now I work with the International Chamber of Shipping. That is not. I see. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I'll give you my cards.
And this is the merit of your AC operations head for the merit engineer.
Okay.
Consultancy certificate they provide for owners, charters,
Okay.
all kind of service projects. This is my head of new.
Mhm.
For few months I'm here and then we'll shift for years.
Oh, okay. Thank you. On what topic it is?
Why don't you become a director? There is vacancy. You want to become?
Okay, we'll discuss.
We have given vacancies for that. Give me your biodata.
I'll ask.
What topic they are talking?
No, it's a board meeting only.
Ah.
There is a seminar on September 11th with the Indian Navy. Then there is a joint one with World Maritime Alumni and ICS.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good to see you again, sir. Good to see you. Hello, sir. Arvind. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, Arvind. Sir. Hello, sir. Yeah.
I heard Captain Guman passed away. Who's that? No, that is Kuman. Captain Kuman, I met him. I was the police. One is Kuman. Bombay में जो है वो. He appeared for the interview the other day, no? For the CEO's post. He passed away. Look here today. Alex Sudhir. There's another Captain Kuman. No, I got Chandigarh. No, he is different. I got it from Captain Mohan Naik told me. And also Vaini. I said, उसका नाम लेना जरा.
Oh.
But there are only two Gumans, as far I know.
No, that other
One is
woman,
Chandigarh.
I know that guy.
One is Chandigarh. He's a politician. पता नहीं वो सही सबको लगाते रहते हैं
नहीं, because there was this
हाँ लिख दीजिए.
चंडीगढ़ वाला
Just check चल रही है वो बंद हो गया मैं टेस्ट करके आऊंगा उनको ऐड करके हमारा टेस्ट है मतलब ऐसे कुछ आएगा दो की
Arvind, he is Arvind Singh. Arvind. ये ना इधर पे 4-5,000 names are here. अभी थोड़ा थोड़ा टाइम लग जाती है. I don't know.
Hello, mic test. Can everyone online also hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Yeah, clear.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good to see you after a long time. Captain Nagpal, right? Yes. Fine.
Oh, big sir, how are you, sir? Good evening.
So good to see you, sir. I think we have to start.
We can start, sir? Yeah. I think we can start.
Proceed is good.
Yes, Matthews. Yes, Matthews. Hello.
You are on the loudspeaker here. Woman pastor, you know, na? Who had come for the interview. He passed away. She was details Mohan Naik बोला है. Mohan Naik भी बोला और ये भी. Mohan Naik से बात. Good for the interview. Yeah, he passed away. Woman. Yeah, woman. Yeah, he's an SCA guy. I know he was nearly my meeting. Yeah. MSc Hall. MSc shooting है ना? हाँ. Yes, MSc. Of course.
Thank you for coming. Yeah. No, please. You've been working at the MSc.
Yes, we are working here.
Okay.
We are now on promotion.
Sorry, after a long day, you have to sit for a
No.
boring lecture also.
Get into it.
This is good for us. We are being involved actually.
So this is your up for promotion now.
Yes, sir. We are doing shift handling.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All of you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All the best.
Thank you so much.
I don't know.
हाँ मैं एक सेकंड में करा हूँ मैं आपको बैठ जाना अरविंद डॉक्टर साहब उधर बैठ जाओ ना एक सेकंड अरविंद किधर आईटी वाला अरविंद राजन
वो यहाँ पर है सर.
क्या वो तेरे साथ दिया था मैंने
हाँ?
आईटी वाला बंदा रिक्शे दिया था
He was here. He was here somewhere.
ये यहाँ पे है तो सब चीजें ठीक है स्टार्ट कर दें अंदर आ जाओ
Yes.
और ये थोड़ी आज ऑडियंस कम है
No, that's okay, sir.
वो बैठे हुए थे नीचे अनिकेत के पास वो गौरव एंड ऑल दैट मैं अनिकेत को फोन कर देता हूँ निकल आया ना नहीं आया था नहीं वो शायद दीदी हो गए उनको तो भेज देना गौरव को वो साथ में बिठा रखा है उसने या वो बाकी दोनों को भेज देना मीटिंग तो है कहाँ है नहीं है अभी किसी को आना है तो आ जाओ आना है तो आ जाओ हाँ वो सीधा आ जाएंगे ना वो सीधा आ जाएंगे ठीक है ये बताओ हम ऑनलाइन आ गए
Everybody is
लिंक
on.
नहीं लिंक है लिंक दिखाना यार साले लिंक दे देंगे अभी कैप्टन महापात्रा आ गए वो लिंक
Yes.
ऑनलाइन में से
He's online, sir.
कैप्टन महापात्रा सर इज ऑनलाइन
Yes, yes. Let me see.
लिंक को ग्रुप में डाल देना
He was online, sir.
लिंक भेज
He's online, sir.
इज ऑनलाइन अच्छा ड्यू टू रेन ना लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वेंट हेयर आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड आज नॉटिकल इंस्टीट्यूट की भी कुछ मीटिंग थी
Oh yeah, they are going on. I have finished. I have because it was on 21st, no, initially. So everybody kept on 20th.
क्योंकि हमने ये मीटिंग 21st की थी
Yeah,
बट ड्यू टू द डीजी इवेंट ना टुमारो
Geo conventions, not
No,
Sidco.
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 उनको व्हाट्सएप पे भी भेज रहे हैं।
कैप्टन महापात्रा को व्हाट्सएप ऑनलाइन है।
आ गया।
Guys, I'm online. I can hear you.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Whatever you will show.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe it's okay. Because I saw them sitting with Aniket, I said, might as well let them come up. I think we can start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I welcome all of you for our CMMI monthly lecture meeting on the subject human elements at IMO. Actually, we are very privileged and lucky to have Captain Arvind Natarajan with us. Just to talk about Arvind Natarajan, I will just say a few lines. Started his career in 1995, progressed towards taking command of oil and chemical tankers. In 2015, he relocated in the UK to deliver STCW competency and modular courses at the University of Suffolk. After this, he was employed with the UK Maritime and Coast Guard as a port set control and flag administration inspector. For past 2 years, he has worked with International Chamber of Shipping in this role. He represents ship owners' interests at IMO's MSC and NBPC meeting as well as STW, NCSR, EPR subcommittee meeting. Due to his experience, he also leads on all operational issues involving oil, chemical, gas tankers, and so he is registered with several technical and expert groups at IMO. One of the most important projects is to lead the comprehensive review of the STCW Convention and Code on behalf of nearly 80,000 of the world ship owners, that is ICS. We thank Captain Arvind Natarajan to be here with us. Not only here, he'll be speaking on the IMO latest happening. Also, we are going to hear him on the 25th, where the DG is celebrating 75th years of celebration. Thank you once again. I hand over the mic to Captain Arvind Natarajan. I think a round of applause.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming here in person. I know it has been raining so much. I was scared myself to travel here, but thank you for coming, and thanks to everyone who is online. I would like to say that today's presentation that I'm giving is as a proud member of Company of Master Mariners of India. So during this presentation, any opinion that I give is not my employer's opinion. It does not reflect their views. And it is not even CMMI's views. I am going to give my personal opinions on some issues. I can, of course, provide you with a global perspective, but all the opinions here are my personal opinions. So I'm going to speak today about human element and how this is addressed at IMO. So in today's presentation, the topics that I will talk about are how IMO addresses human element, what is their understanding, what are they doing about it. And then I have chosen few topics. There are many topics, but I have chosen few topics in increasing order of controversy, starting with maritime autonomous surface shipping and specifically what the IMO is doing to develop training competencies on autonomous ships. Then I will go into recent discussions at Maritime Safety Committee on ISM code and its guidelines on implementation. Then I'll talk about scoping exercise, and this is about identifying things that are very close to human element, like fatigue and the relationship with manning levels on board ships. Then I'll talk about what we are doing about reviewing the principles of safe manning. And finally, I have a bonus topic which I will not reveal now, but as we come to the end, then I will speak about it. So that's a bonus topic for me. So I'll speak about what is human element. So the IMO says that human element is a key factor in the safety of life on board ships. Very funnily, nowhere in no IMO document will you see a definition of what is human element. So they only say that it is a key element of safety of life on board ships. And they also say that human element is a contributing factor to most of the casualties in the shipping sector. So I was lucky to speak with the previous IMO Secretary General, Mr. Kitak Lim. I had the chance to have a discussion with him, and I asked him, what do you mean by most of the casualties in the shipping sector? So he told me that about 80% of any casualties has a human element factor in it. And I said, sir, I'm sorry, but I don't agree. It is actually 100%. 100% of all casualties have something of human element within it. So this tells me a bit about what is the understanding within the IMO. And when I say IMO, I mean 176 member states, more than 50 NGOs, and so many stakeholders. What is their understanding of human element? According to the IMO, the main vehicle which they address human element are the STCW convention, which is the 1978 STCW convention, and the STCW Fishers convention, and the ISM code. So these are the main instruments through which IMO addresses human element. So what are the initiatives that IMO has taken about human element? So some initiatives are goal-based approach, which is as an alternative to prescriptive approach of how regulations, technical codes, and conventions are formed. So just to give an example, IMO is trying to move away from unthinking compliance with rules. So it is not that there is a regulation and you have to follow it. That is not what IMO wants. So they don't want unthinking compliance. They are trying to move towards a way where goal of any regulation or a technical code or a convention is set, and some amount of flexibility is given as to how to achieve that goal. And the IMO feels that this is the way where we can encourage innovation, and we can encourage the way how we comply with regulations. So goal-based approach is one of the first ways how the IMO addresses human element. Recent initiative, another recent initiative is the human element checklist. So when there is any work output proposed at IMO, and this may be to review some convention or to introduce a new regulation, the IMO asks you to complete a human element checklist. And within the checklist, the proposer is supposed to explain how they are going to look at the human element, what are they taking into account when they are developing the regulations, and how do they think that these regulations are going to be complied with from a human element perspective. So that's another factor. Then the IMO has come out with a suite of human element related guidance, and this could be in the form of the guidelines for fatigue management. It is in the principles of minimum safe manning on board ships, and then what we call are the work and rest hour regulations. In the IMO, this is addressed in the STCW convention, and in the ILO, this is addressed in the MLC. And finally, ISM code implementation guidelines. So these implementation guidelines, I will speak more about this. And this is guidelines on how the ISM code has to be implemented on board ships. These are guidelines which are addressed to administrations and to shipping companies as well. So these are some of the ways which the IMO tries to address the human element in the industry. So I'll start with with the first topic that I want to talk about, and that is autonomous shipping. So in September, in the last week of September this year, we are going to have an important session on maritime autonomous surface ships. And this session is dedicated to the human element. Some of the questions which are going to be discussed in this session are remote operators. So the remote operators who might be working in a location far away from the ship, and they are operating, for example, they are navigating the ship from a remote center. Should they be considered as seafarers? And related to this is another question: should a remote operator be an ex-seafarer? So these are some of the questions which we are going to discuss. Another question is that within the MAS technical code, which is at this time a non-mandatory code, but in the future will develop into a mandatory requirement. Within the MAS code, should there be a reference to a safe manning document? So the minimum safe manning document, which is a SOLAS certification requirement under safety of navigation, makes references to STCW convention certificates. So should there be a reference in the autonomous shipping MAS code to a safe manning document? Another question is the competency requirements of the remote operator. Should it be in the STCW convention? Because the STCW convention is for seafarers on board ships. So then we go back to the question, is a remote operator a seafarer, or should they be an ex-seafarer? So these are some of the questions which we are going to discuss in September. Some of the proposals. Now, when I say a proposal, this is a proposal that I have done it on behalf of my employer, that is International Chamber of Shipping. What we have proposed is we have to start developing interim training frameworks for remote operators on board ships. And I'm stressing on the word interim because interim is a measure which means that we are working towards a more permanent arrangement. So we will try to develop training competencies for remote operators within this interim training frameworks. And the further discussion on where these training should be placed, whether in STCW or in some other instrument, that can be done later. So that is a proposal which ICS is putting forward. And another proposal which we are putting forward is the creation of a new convention. So we have the 1978 STCW convention, which is for seafarers. We have the STCW Fishers Convention, which is for fishers. And now the proposal is that there should be a new convention, STCW MAS, which is only related to autonomous shipping. So anyone who works on autonomous ships, whether it is a person on board a ship or whether it is a remote operator, a separate convention for that. So these are some of the things which ICS we are proposing in September. We can go into the discussion of these questions towards the end of this presentation. So the next topic that I would like to talk about is a decision that was taken at the 110th session of Maritime Safety Committee, which was in June this year. And the decision was about reviewing implementation guidelines of the ISM code. So there was a long discussion on whether the ISM code itself should be reviewed. One of the arguments which my employer ICS had put forward was that the ISM code is a goal-based instrument. It's one of the early instruments which was developed as a goal-based instrument, and the ISM code itself need not be reviewed. However, there seems to be some kind of lacunae in how it is being implemented on board ships. So there was an agreement at MSC 110 that the guidelines for the ISM code, which is guidelines on implementation, which is issued to administrations and issued to companies, need to be reviewed to make it a bit more clear. The other decision that was taken was to review posture control guidelines. So perhaps some of you are aware that when your ships undergo a posture control inspection, in different MOUs, there is a different understanding on how an ISM code related deficiency is given on board ships. In some MOUs, the inspector would look at all the observations that are issued to a ship and issue a single ISM code deficiency. But in some other MOUs, the thinking is different. There are specific ISM code deficiencies that are issued on board ships. So this makes an impact for the ship owner because we need to close down these ISM code deficiencies as well. So there is no uniformity in how port state control addresses ISM code deficiencies. So we have requested more clarity on this case. So it was agreed to have a review of the port state control guidelines for ISM code implementation. The third topic was to address non-technical skills. In this regard, the understanding was that when the shore-based staff develop procedures for people on board ships, there is a disconnect between work as it is imagined in the office and work as it happens on board the ship. There is a big disconnect with that. A person in the office would make a procedure which would have several checks, and in their opinion, this is the right way in which a work has to be done. But on board, there is a different perspective to that. So there seems to be a disconnect, and so the IMO has decided that non-technical skills, that is understanding of human element, is something that needs to be focused on. So this is going to be a discussion that will be coming up at the next session of the human element training and watchkeeping session, which is in February, addressing non-technical skills. So please, if you are in a position to contribute to this discussion, please do make efforts to make your proposals known. The last one is capacity building initiative. So in this regard, what the IMO has decided is that there would be a possibility of having annual forums, workshops, where companies, shipping companies, would be invited to present specific instances on how safety management system procedures are being developed, how they have addressed the human element for any specific operation on board ships. And so this is a forum for information sharing between companies, between administrations. The intention is that human element can only improve with this initiative. So again, if you are in a position to contribute towards these capacity building forums, please do take this opportunity. I may be able to help if you are interested. So please keep in contact with me if you would like to make a contribution. Another decision which was taken at MSC 110 was to initiate a scoping exercise. Now, a scoping exercise was decided because there have been several studies initiated by the World Maritime University, which is talking about the connection between fatigue and manning levels on board ships. So a scoping exercise will commence at HTW12 in February next year. The purpose of this scoping exercise is to look at what IMO instruments can specifically be focused on for the purpose of a future review or a revision to address the human element. Some of the instruments that have been identified are the guidelines for management of fatigue on board ships. Another instrument is the work and rest hour regulations, which is in IMO's STCW and the ILO's MLC. So as regards to the work and rest hour regulations, it has been decided that there will be a joint tripartite working group of the ILO and the IMO. The date of this is not decided yet, but there has to be a joint meeting to reconcile the regulations which are there in MLC and STCW, so that there is a common understanding on what should be the hours of work or what should be the hours of rest on board ships. So the scoping exercise will only identify which are the instruments, And then if there is to be a revision of any of these instruments, then of course it will require a member state to make a proposal and a convincing argument as to why that particular instrument has to be reviewed or revised. So I will be very happy to answer any questions. Finally, I will talk about the review of the principles of minimum safe manning. So that is resolution A 1047 of Assembly 27. Now the principles of minimum safe manning mention different aspects that need to be considered when the manning level on board ships has to be decided. It talks about looking at fatigue. It does talk about compliance with work and rest hours and several other factors. I believe that there is a misconception in the industry that the principles of safe manning, minimum safe manning, are only to take a ship from point A to point B. That is not correct. The principles of safe manning very clearly mention that one must take into account the type of the ship, the trading pattern, the operations that would be there on board the ships. So all these factors have to be taken into account to decide the manning level on board ships. I think all of us agree that there seems to be some there seems to be scope for more improvement in these principles of safe manning. And this has come from the World Maritime University studies, which have tried to establish a connection between fatigue and work and rest hours. At this point, I will say that it is my personal opinion that yes, there is a connection between fatigue and the manning level. And I think many of you will agree. But I would also like to say that there are other sources of fatigue other than manning levels on board ships that also has to be considered. And this is the opinion of my employer, International Chamber of Shipping, that the fatigue on board ships has got other factors other than the manning level on board ships. So those also have to be taken into account. Some of the things which have been proposed is to empower port state control to assess the manning level on board a ship. If this is agreed, what this means is that the port state control officer would be on board, would be in a position when they come on board your ships to decide, is the level of manning on board your ship adequate for the upcoming voyage based on your operations which you have been conducting, and then they would be able to decide whether your ship is safe to proceed out of port. I leave it to you whether you feel that this is a pragmatic approach to be taken by port state control. Personally, we believe that the flag administration has the sole authority on what should be the manning on board ships, not a port state control inspector. But again, this is my personal opinion, not my employer's. Some other proposals are that ship owners should conduct a formal assessment when they decide on the actual manning on board ships. So we know very well that the safe manning document mentions for every certificate of competency how many people must be available on board. And I think most responsible ship owners place additional persons on board ships. However, how many more additional people? The proposal is that there should be a formal assessment, a risk assessment done by the ship owner to decide how they have come to this agreement on what should be the actual manning on board ships. And this formal assessment will be subject to a regular SMS review as well. So during internal audits, external audits by the administration, they would look at this formal assessment that is being done by the ship owner to decide what is the actual manning on board ships aside from the safe manning document. So these are some of the ideas, some of the proposals that are being discussed to address human element. There are many other issues, but I have chosen only the ones which I felt were of interest today. And finally, we come to the bonus topic, which is the revised recommendations for entering enclosed spaces on board ships. I think all of us are very aware of this resolution A1050/27. This is the existing revised recommendations on board ships. There have been many studies and many statistics that have been provided before and after A1050/27 came into force. And curiously, after it has come into force, the number of fatalities on board ships because of enclosed spaces has actually increased. Some very disturbing statistics. Senior officers are the ones who are involved in most number of fatalities. Most fatalities always have more than a single person who is involved in the fatality. So in many cases, in many cases, a person on board a ship has collapsed within an enclosed space, and unthinkingly another person has gone inside to attempt a rescue, which has resulted in a fatality. So these are some disturbing statistics. And as I said, these fatalities have actually increased after A1050 came into force. So the IMO, and when I say IMO, again I mention 176 member states and NGOs collectively decided that A1050 has to be reviewed and it needs to undergo a comprehensive revision, because the existing A1050 was perceived to be very complicating and ambiguous in the language. So I can say that the A1050 resolution is going to be revoked by the Assembly 34 session, which is going to be later this year, and it will be replaced by a new resolution, which is MSC 581-110. And 110 is the Maritime Safety Committee session, which was in June this year. So what needs to be done? Well, the first thing that needs to be done is there will be many changes to mandatory instruments. Wherever there is a reference to A1050, those references have to change to the MSC resolution. And for all companies, I think there are many companies where their safety management system procedures make a direct reference to A1050. Those have to be changed to the new MSC resolution. However, this is my personal opinion, the new resolution will not help. It will not help addressing the fact that people are dying in enclosed spaces. The reason for that is because the earlier A1050 was 15 pages. The new resolution is 32 pages. The reason why it is 32 pages is because there is an excessive amount of theoretical information which is introduced in the new MSC resolution. So ICS had made many objections to the new resolution. We had mentioned that the title of this document is Revised Recommendations for Entering Enclosed Spaces aboard ships. It should restrict itself to providing guidance on what needs to be done if you have to enter into an enclosed space or work within an enclosed space. However, this new recommendation goes into excessive theoretical detail. And as the saying goes, too many cooks spoil the broth. So we had many different stakeholders from ports, from terminals, who also wanted to input some additional information. There is also reference to unverified experiments which talk about carbon dioxide toxicity. So is carbon dioxide a toxic gas? The jury is out on that. But this resolution talks explicitly about carbon dioxide being toxic and then introduces more and more checks that need to be done at regular intervals. One factor which I think all of us need to be very careful about is significant downscaling of the procedures when seafarers enter into a space which they know is dangerous. The earlier recommendation, so 8 and 50, made it very clear. If you send a seafarer into an enclosed space which you know contains a dangerous atmosphere, it has to be only in 2 cases: for the safety of life or for the safety of the ship. That was the recommendation in the earlier resolution. But the new resolution has significantly downscaled this. The new resolution now says that if you want to send a seafarer into a space which you know is dangerous, you need to do a risk assessment and you need to put safety barriers in place. That is where safety BA sets and personal protective equipment. Is that safe? Personally, I feel this cannot, I cannot accept that. I would never send a seafarer into a space which I know is dangerous. But the new resolution now allows that if you do a risk assessment, you can send for any planned work within an enclosed space. So I leave it to you if you feel that this is a safe thing to do. But please be aware, your SMS procedures have to be very explicit when they are speaking about this particular aspect of working in an enclosed space. So I can only say that personally I am very frustrated about this particular aspect in the way IMO has addressed the human element, but that is my personal opinion. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Questions, please. Yes. Please. Which slide can I go to now?
Hello, hi sir. Good evening. My name is Captain Ram. Sir, you mentioned like after resolution 10/27, the incidents have been increased
Yes.
by considerable amount.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What could be the reasons? Maybe we can have a discussion of this. What could be the reason? So, like if it was increased by 1050, and now the new one is as the excessive theoretical guidelines. So again, I don't think that it will reduce. It will be increasing.
That is correct. That is correct. So when resolution 8 and 50 came into force, some of the language within this resolution was very ambiguous. For example, an enclosed space is described as a space with limited entry or ingress into the space and limited openings. Is a cargo hold then considered to be an enclosed space? Recently, there have been many incidents where the cargo hold, although it is wide open, has contained a dangerous atmosphere, which has resulted in seafarers collapsing, especially when fumigants are added into the bulk cargo. But then seafarers go as per the definition. It is a space with limited points of ingress and limited openings. So the cargo hold does not really come into that definition. So that was one reason of causing a lot of confusion. Another reason was that 8 and 50 had a list of enclosed spaces, and this was a non-exhaustive list. We feel that non-exhaustive lists have no use, because when you mention that a list is non-exhaustive, what does it mean? It means that if you have an enclosed space, look and see if it is in that list. If it is in that list, it is an enclosed space. If it is not in that list is non-exhaustive. It may still be an enclosed space. It causes a lot of confusion. So that was the reason why a lot of fatalities occurred, although the 8 and 50 came into force. However, I'm sorry to say that with the new resolution, it does not help. There is a lot of ambiguity still in that. Ultimately, we have to think, who is looking at this resolution? It is the seafarers on board ships. They are the ones who need to understand the resolution. And I feel that the language in the new resolution is still ambiguous, it is still confusing, and there is a lot of unnecessary information in that. So unfortunately, we will have to wait and see. And that I consider it as a failure on my part as well, because I was involved in the discussions, but I could not influence as many people as I could. So that's how it is.
So what exactly, see, IMO will not pass the resolution so easily. You say there was significant downscaling of procedures.
Yes.
To bring, so when there is significant downscaling of procedures, unverified experimental data, how did the resolution get passed?
The new resolution was discussed in a working group, and this working group is comprised of very small number of experts, and the number of persons who were involved in the discussions in that working group, there was a vested interest to agree to this particular requirement. The reason for that is because some bulk liquid chemical cargoes have toxic elements which are in very, very trace amounts. The vapor pressure of such toxic elements is in such trace amounts that there is no practicable way of measuring the toxic element in those spaces. But we still have to enter into the space. So it was agreed that if you know that there is a toxic element, even if you are not able to detect it, you can enter into the space with appropriate risk assessment and PPE. So unfortunately, the people who had this vested interest, the stakeholders, were excessive in number, and I was unable to influence it in any manner. So it has ultimately been agreed upon.
So my point is that like every company which is running or managing things,
yes,
follows ISM code.
Yes.
ISM code has got critical operations, not critical operations. These are all critical operations, right? So
yes,
the SMS should be very clear.
Yes.
What is to be done by a seafarer?
Yes.
So just saying that A150 does not have this or has this, why is it that the authorities like recognized organizations which are doing the audits or internal audits do not find these gaps in company SMS? Why are people dying even with today with regulations in place when we have a company SMS which is supposed to take care of all? So where is the gap? Like, IMO can write millions of pages late, but ultimately it's the 22 people who are working on the ship and the company SMS. So where is this? I mean, some companies have SMS which are only 5 pages, some companies have 500 pages. So why is this gap allowed? That is what I would like to say.
So a reason for this is, as the IMO has identified earlier, and what the IMO is trying to say is that when work is imagined by people on board, work is imagined by the people ashore, and when they write these SMS procedures, their understanding of how work is happening on board ships is very different from how it actually happens. So an example is enclosed spaces. So the procedure says that you would need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks. If you have a break and the break is more than 15 minutes, then you have to come back and do additional checks. And to the person who is in a shore-based office, this seems like an excellent procedure. But to the person on board a ship who has to inspect maybe five enclosed spaces in a day for whatever purpose, it's very difficult to comply with these requirements. And so probably some kind of circumventing of the requirements or non-compliance with the procedures happens. I don't like to always say that the people on board ships don't comply with procedures. I dislike saying that.
If the procedure is so rigid,
Because
they will not do it. You don't allow them to do the
that is correct.
My master cannot follow this.
That is correct.
You make the procedure so stringent that it cannot be done. Right?
That is correct. We have created environments where we make compliance difficult. And then it is convenient to say that the seafarers on board didn't follow the procedures. So that is why we believe that there needs to be some, when procedures are being made by the people ashore, there has to be a significant input from operational people, from people working there, which at this point is not there. Again, going by the point about downscaling. So these are recommendations, and it is up to shipping companies to go above and beyond recommendations. So a shipping company can always make a higher standard to say that we would not send our seafarers in an atmosphere which is dangerous. If we know it is dangerous, we would not do it. So that is always a possibility that is there. Yes, sir.
I want to a little bit keep your mind aside. Start off with what you first said. All accidents are not just 80%, it's 100% of human error. I would go by that. If you see from the time 1979, 85 to next 15 years, there have been accidents. IMO came out with such a lot of documents and we changed our procedures. We brought in so much of equipment, should be carrying some personalized equipment for going on tanks and all that. Then the accidents reduced. And now you find that those batch of people trained are different from what we have now. I mean, it's a method of training, the mindset of the people, commercial angle, the number of people on board. I mean, you put regulations and you put all these, talking of this 1050, 71. I think that gap is between practical use, commercial angles, and the commercial pressures, and there's not enough training. Today, the master, as I was talking to Christine and my friend, is that a master is going down to the crew and asking, hey, how are you? Have you got money? Are you receiving? In my time, there was no master, we not to be seen. There was a command at a master. When he talks, his voice is heard down below. So that, there's a transition. Today, you are talking of wellness, mindfulness. Today, a junior officer talks of master, he goes and brings up somebody, he's got access to it. So, there is a mindset deficiency. I think that needs to be dealt with more than all this. And this is a bigger factor. The commercial part, the type of mentality in between the youngsters. And when I was leaving Sea Life, I was in the offshore industry, never had any accident. In fact, there are a few tanks which are carrying dangerous cargoes. You have one tank, gas screen and all that is done, it's okay.
So one of the things is, I know of a very reputed chemical operator which has taken a stand, and the stand that they have taken is that they will not allow inspections to happen inside the tank unless adequate time is given for the ship to change over when they're changing over from one product to the other. So when the ship is changing from one product to another, this chemical tanker operator tells to the charterers that for changeover, we need, for the purpose of inspections, we need X amount of time. It may be days or it may be maybe a week. I'm not sure, but this is the stand that they have taken. And
so my point is, why should IMO or even authorities like ISM or whatever, make it so lean on the minimum standard that you just follow this much, above that is your wish. If you are safe, fine, you're alive, fine. You die because you didn't follow beyond that. So my point is, make it so rigid for everybody that people do not die.
That is true, sir. But
that is required, right?
That is true. That is true.
Everything is 100%. There is no question. And it should not be that because IMO allowed me to make it 50% safe, so you go, you might be back home safe, or okay, tomorrow you might not be. I'm sorry. That's not what we want from people.
That's
any regulation, as a matter of fact. So this is where we have similar with minimum safe manning. Sometimes, as you said, if they posted tomorrow or somebody comes and does a risk assessment, there are ships sailing with 12, 13 people doing completely void. We've seen accidents happening where a guy has gone and right up to in Norway in somebody's house and almost having breakfast there. I mean, that's absolutely unacceptable today for us to believe that there are ships running like that. And tomorrow, maybe I'm also one of the persons who are running the ship because regulation.
I would say, sir, when IMO comes up with minimum standards, I don't like to use minimum as in a low standard, but I like to say the minimum standard is a globally accepted standard, because we are talking of 176 member states and different interests. So you have ship owning countries, you've got countries where they're a significant source of income. Yes, sir.
People who come from different states. Like, very rarely people like who are standard who are there, and they will. I mean, they will see what is most best for my country with regard to commercial, with regard to economical, financial thing, and those, as you said, they will be making a minimum standard, but not above and beyond if you want.
Yes, sir.
Us as seafarers we want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, one more thing.
Oh,
Sorry, please. Yeah. It's very nice presentation from you.
Thank you,
It
sir.
reminds me that 69 and 70, 1970 January I joined. Things were different. The training what we got is different. In a nutshell, it is that your life, your safety is your responsibility. You will never have any accident. No. Going to mobility, there question. There the regulations were companies that if you want to go in the enclosed space, chief officer has done the readings and along with one more officers. It was up to the person who's entering to make sure that the atmosphere is good enough for his entry. He had an overriding authority. He will take the meters, he will go and check it. If he's satisfied, then only he will go. No action will be taken whatsoever. So I think that helps. Now we are gone in a different way, and as you said, the people sitting ashore telling no, you must clean your tank and reach. No. Master must have the authority to make sure that my ship is safe, my people are safe. Going back to 74, our second officer and our very, very senior Captain Superintendent, Captain Minocha, he had come on board on Motilal Nehru. Motilal Nehru, about a few days before, had an explosion in number 1 heads for the oboe. Chief officer and cadet, our second officer there. And then the ship came to Malta for repairs, etc. And Captain, the superintendent, he had come. And he was, what I could feel, he was under so much of pressure to get the things ready and put the ship sailing. That person entered the tank. Not the tank, it's the ramp. I think 700 mm. Goes down, and from the end, you enter the hold where actually we load car oil. He went halfway and he became unconscious. Then from the ladder coming down, he became unconscious. Luckily, his foot gears saved him. He collapsed head downward, and in the rungs is those shoes, big shoes.
Footwear were.
And we had one MSD surveyor, so I forgot his name. He had come for inquiry. He's also. And being second officer, I was rest time by rest time, and I was open. This is superintendent is stuck there, and the surveyor is gone. Went there, so I put on the oxygen cylinders and all. I went down and I saw he's upside down. So I came up. We spoke to him. I said, sir, this is the thing. And it is very, very difficult. That's the space so small with my bottles on. I cannot, even if I touch him and all something happens, even shoes comes out from his feet. He took me on his side. He said, I'm responsible. No action will be taken on you. Even if he falls down, otherwise also he is dead. So second time I went, I don't know. Even the local authorities, they came. He said, how is it possible? 750 mm wide, he is hanging. How a person can go down below him? This Almighty's is very, very clear. So from the stage, from the sides, with the bottle on, I went down. I don't know how I went below him, then tied up the rope to his somewhere here up, just hip somewhere tight, and then tied up to his feet, came up again, and people pulled him. He was bleeding from the nose, and he was, of course, unconscious. And we were in Malta, so the moment he came up on that deck, the ambulance was already there on board, and they put the oxygen and all that. That's it. He was taken to the hospital and he survived. So what I'm saying is that it is not the person who is going down. Maybe he is under pressure. So that's what we have to maintain. And what we call this body is your responsibility. You want to kill yourself, you kill. You want to save yourself, you save. All the accidents will stop.
I think
anyway,
so. Congratulations. Congratulations. So you wanted to
Sorry. Yeah, see, this enclosed-based thing is quite a big topic, okay? As a third-party inspector, I have been into several tanks of many foreign ships also. And it's really, I have to rely on that idiot who is asking me to inspect. I have not done a formal risk assessment, but I have to go down. Because at the end of the day, if I don't give a certificate, that ship will not load. Can I hold up? You're talking about reducing the procedures, but increasing the paperwork. You're from 15 pages gone to 32 pages. I know of our company which is having a 6-page enclosed space entry permit. Now, if you make 15 to 32, the company will make it from 6 to 15. Master will never enter an enclosed space, and I agree with Captain Ajit that in those days, when I was in Mumbai on a tanker, I was a cadet. So this gas inspector used to come with a cage in which there was a bird, a typical bird.
Canary.
Yeah, canary. And the canary used to be very lowered into the, and I was watching it, kya tamasha ho raha hai?
So that must have been pre-ISM.
Indra will come out, he will be rolling it from the
Captain Usmani's favorite question.
Now you're talking about measurement at various levels. How is it possible? How many butterfly coats you have? Don't talk about enclosed spaces because they are actually dangerous. We talk about people who are clearing sewers. Every day we hear cases of people entering the sewers and they are dying one on the top of the. Last week there was an incident in one of the places in India. That is also an enclosed space. You are talking about cargo hold. Cargo hold is an enclosed space. It is not a space where you can just freely enter.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I agree, but the understanding was not there for about that. Yes, yes, absolutely. I agree. Online, sir.
Captain Ashok Mahapatra and Captain C.S. Dubey, they have raised their hand. So any one of them can ask. Captain Ashok Mahapatra, sir, you can ask the question.
No. Arvind, it was a very good presentation, but just a few observations. The question that you raised, whether the remote operator in mass ships should be considered seafarers or not, I have an opinion which you may take on board when you discuss it, because that was the stand I took when mass was introduced into the MSc during my tenure. And I insisted on it after a meeting with the MCA and the then Rolls-Royce, which was taking place. See, no matter what happens, whether it is a mass ship or a ship manned by they still have to ply on the ships, the seas. And when they ply on the seas, there are certain basic compliances that have to be done, like weather, ROR, ships' internal integrity, and all those things. So I like the idea of a new mass STCW. To me, the remote operator will be seafarers with additional skills on remote operations. So that is going to upscale the seafarers. That is one. The second observation on what you said about the ISM code, yes, it is a very goal-based. Its original this thing is a goal-based this thing, but unfortunately, for some reason, it did not get the requisite importance both by the ship owners who left it to the last minute to try and get their SMS and DOC procedures together. As a result, pardon my saying so, the class came in and gave off-the-shelf procedures. And you will agree as a representative of the ship owners that every company's operations are different. They have each has its unique way of doing it. And that is what is required. When the moment the companies recognize that this is this thing and they take ownership of it, then ISM will start working. And on the enclosed spaces, the lesser I say, because this was discussed ad valorem through every MSc, and I was there for 20 plus years. And it is still, we have a problem now. And I wish you all the best for the next session. And if there is anything that I can contribute, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Mahapatra, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, your experience at IMO for so many years. I would just like to add something what Captain Mahapatra said and Captain Ravind also said. IMO, no matter what regulations they are making, they are reducing the toughness or they are increasing the toughness. However, a flag state and the company have the right to add whatever they want. Just correct me if I am wrong.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Yes, yes.
If a good company or a good tax state can always add requirement to whatever IMO may say. You want more comprehensive checklist, you want more safety for your seafarers, the tax state want more things, they have the right to do. I just have to say this. Captain C.S. Dubey, sir, you have raised the hand. Thank you.
Yeah, Captain Natarajan, first of all, I thank you for this presentation. Very well presented. I've got some observations, first of all, regarding STCW mass. I fully agree with Captain Mahapatra because a seafarer only will know all the, the happenings, the nitty-gritties, what is going on the ship, whether it's engineer or officer. So they must come from the seafaring background, or they must be taught about seafaring, what all happens at sea. That is important. Otherwise, they'll be really lost. The second thing is regarding the fatigue and work rest hours, which is also related with the safe mining to some extent. I want to take a situation where Great Lakes, for example, where the ship is going for for many ports, loading, discharging, maybe 10, 15 ports in a span of 3-4 hours, 3-4 days. So how this you're going to tackle this kind of rest hours for the master and the people who are involved in the cargo operations, moorings, everything? What plan do you have to tackle this kind of problem? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Captain Philip Matthew, sir.
First of all, thank you so much for that excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir.
So lucidly presented. I have two queries. One is, I want to know what is the discussion and your opinion on this PSC coming into minimum safe manning. See, minimum safe manning is a document that coming out from SOLAS, where it is referred to in the safe manning document thing. Even today, when we apply for a minimum safe manning document, there is a risk assessment to be given. Similarly, when we ask for a dispensation, there is a risk assessment to be done and given. Declaration comes from the master, from the DPA, so many things. Now, this port state coming into this and port state entering into a jurisdiction where there is no uniformity, what is the thinking of IMO in this matter? Because you just said that there is a proposal to review the safe manning. I don't mind reviewing the safe manning. But the port state control, like you know yourself, that the flag state inspections and all that, it is fine. And also the IMO's, mandatory review of various states, that is all fine. But this port state, what is the view on this? This is my first question. Second question is very controversial, which is being discussed, though I support that, is like today's seafarers, many countries, their sea time is, there is some remission given for simulator training. Now, this matter, I was there in ISWG, it came back again in HCW, it will go further ahead. Now, what is the view, your personal view? We have a national view, which is also, it may not be in line with what is the view there. But the thing is, what do you think? Like simulator training, I'm not saying that the whole 1 year sea time or 18 months sea time should be given based on this simulator training, but some revision, the UK model, for example, or some other similar models. I would like to hear your views on this. Thank you so much again for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So about the first question, and that is port state control making an assessment of the manning level on board ship. So I think this is a very dangerous idea, because what a port state control officer would normally do is come on board the ships, have a look at the work and rest hours, and I think we all recognize that in port during operations there is a disruption in the schedule. There is a possibility that the work and rest hours will not be exactly complied. And now a port state inspector looking at that, if that port state inspector makes an assessment that the ship is inadequately manned, then we are entering into a territory where port state is dictating something which is under the jurisdiction of the flag administration. And the flag administration, in whatever methodology, have decided on the manning level on the ship, and the ship owner, in whatever kind of assessment, has increased the manning level on board the ship. If a port state inspector is going to question that, then we see, and this is what we believe, my employer believes, that there won't be a uniform understanding given to port state inspectors as to how they can question what is the manning level. We will come to a very confusing situation where some port states might be a bit flexible, some will be very rigid, and it will be a very confusing situation. So my employers, we are not at all in favor of port state control questioning what should be the manning on board ships. And we have seen that steadily over certain years, the power of a flag administration has eroded over many issues. So I can say that we will be opposing this particular idea that port state control can question what is the jurisdiction. The second question was about simulator training. So this is again my employer's view. We believe that simulator training can be a substitute for sea time. It can be. As an example, seafarers could, the 1 year of sea time for a deck officer, that seafarer could spend the entire 1 year of sea time without ever having an understanding of certain high pressure situations like port operations, entry into port, or a fire on board ship, or any other kind of incidents, because it all depends on what kind of mentorship is there on board ships. Whereas in a simulator, these aspects can be replicated, these aspects can be measured, these aspects can be assessed, and a certificate can be given. So I believe that simulator training can be a substitute of sea time. However, what I say is that it cannot be a simple substitution, as in 1 day of simulator is equal to 1 week of sea time. That is not acceptable. The administration, which approves these kind of arrangements, must provide a methodology as to how much of sea time can be given remission for simulator training. But I do believe that we must take into account that simulator training can be a very good measure of how training is provided. So I think we should move away from the idea that we should be rigid of having 1 year of sea time. We have to move away from that. That is the opinion of my employer as well.
Yeah, and just add, I think what IMO is working on,
Yes.
have a revision of maximum 3 to 4 weeks of revision in sea time.
The UK model is
That is a UK.
However, I will add what I said before, that still, even if they pass this thing, flag states still have the right to keep 1 year if they want.
Yes.
But generally it is accepted that the practical experience is more better. And on the second, we are talking about only on the cadet side now. There's a second mate thing. So they can still, flag state can say, or the Indian administration can say, if you are going to do your second mate QC from India, you need 12 months of practical season. But I agree with what you said, some of the things can be done.
So I can just give an update that the agreement that has been reached at IMO's STW session is that only for the first certificate of competency, that is for achieving the second mate certificate of competency or the third engineer certificate of competency, only for that a remission of sea time is allowed if you have simulator training, but not for subsequent sea time requirements for subsequent certification. So this is the agreement that has been reached now. As to the quantum of how much simulator time and how much sea time, that still has to be agreed upon.
I'll just move on to another. Captain Grish Patnis has raised his hand. Captain Patnis, you want to ask some question?
Good evening all. Interesting discussion with all the seniors there. Obviously, IMO decides, but I have my doubts. I would take what Captain Philip Matthews said. We are talking now of exempting the first rank on board without sea time. I think that's a dangerous situation to be in. That means we are looking at third mates or fourth mates who have never seen a ship. And we have seen, I'm talking practically now, in my years of service in the manning industry, or even in the technical side, the major complaint that most of these senior masters or the masters on board, they're afraid when they speak one-to-one as to whom are you sending as my third mate? Whom are you sending me as my fourth engineer? So that's going to be a challenge. See, it's taken us 25 years to change from quite a few senior people here who, like me, we have been cadets in the mid and early 70s. And we have seen the change of time. And one of the major causes is human error. It's my personal opinion. I mean, that's the way I look at life. How much ever we train on stimulators, when that man faces the heat of fire or breathlessness in a tank, how are we going to address that? That's what it's just an observation. It was a very good session. And of course, each one has got his point of view. And, this is my opinion. I mean, we came down from 36 months to 18 months to 12 months. And now we're talking about 0 months. Thank you.
It's not 0, suppose.
12 months is the minimum thing which has been accepted globally. Now they are talking about only for second mid COC. Maybe 3 to 4 weeks can be compensated by a particular exercises on the simulator. So it means still he has to do 11 months of the practical series. This has to correct all this. And I also see Captain Ashok Mahapatra has again raised his hand. Captain Mahapatra, sir.
No, I just wanted to comment on, actually agree with Arvind with the port state control officers reviewing the manning this thing. Arvind, you will recognize that the port state control inspectors are usually not ones who have any idea on operations. They come with a checklist. Even with Paris MOU, I have seen it. They had raised this question once when I was there, and I had really not allowed them to bring it on the table. They were trying, they wanted first my concurrence before they started asking for people. I personally did not encourage them. I said, you have diluted the competences of your port state control inspectors, even in Paris MOU and Tokyo MOU. So more than, at least at that time, there were more than 50% who had no initial direct links to shipping. They may have come up later, but that is how it is. I think I will support your idea of standing by and opposing this, because one, yes, it again impinges on the rights of a flag state. Of course, I think this is being pushed by DG Move within the European Union and EMSA. Again, EMSA has got very limited people with actually shipboard experience. Thank you.
Yes, sir, I agree with your observation. And if I give my experience as a port state inspector, my sea time experience, operational experience has only been on tankers. But if I were to go on a container vessel for an inspection or a RoPax vessel, and then if I were to look at the work and rest hours, and then if I'm expected to make an assessment as to whether this ship is adequately manned for the next voyage, I don't feel competent enough to make that assessment and then dictate to the flag administration and to the ship owner that this level is inadequate. So this is my understanding of this.
That's fine. You are at least admitting your this thing. But look at the inspectors, their education and experience levels. You know, in the 90s, they brought it down. Usually it used to be an engineer or a master mariner or a naval architect. They brought it down 3 steps down, and they started inspecting them, and they gave them a laptop and a checklist. That is what I'm trying to say. And that hasn't changed.
Agree, sir. Agree.
Thank you, sir. I think we must come to the end of this session. If anyone...
No, I think Girish Fadnavis has his hands raised.
Oh, Girish.
Sorry.
Captain Patris, you have raised your hand again?
No, I forgot to get it down. Thank you.
So if still anyone has a question, you can send it to the CMMI email ID, and they will get in touch with Captain Natarajan and send back the review. I thank you everyone, and I hand over the mic to our Secretary General, Captain Vivek Bhandankar.
Yeah, good evening to you. First of all, let us do the honors as CMMI. We want to felicitate Arvind Natarajan as our fellow.
Yes, sir.
Fellowship certificate is being.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to सर थोड़ा ये लाइट्स
अच्छा लाइट अच्छा है सुधीर तू भी ले ले यार मोबाइल में फोटो
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Also, as CMMI, I want to give a small gift to Arvind Natarajan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I would only like to say, sir, that no, second.
Yeah.
So I would only like to say, sir, that CMMI is a professional body that has a world of knowledge and experience, and I think that CMMI can contribute immensely to the Indian administration when the Indian administration attends IMO sessions. I think the body of knowledge that is there, the expertise that is there is second to none. And when I say this, I say it really with all sincerity. In so many other countries I've seen, the CMMI's expertise is second to none. And if we can contribute to CMMI and through CMMI to the Indian administration, please, I would say, please don't miss this opportunity. We have a lot to improve, and we can do it. We can definitely can. Thank you, sir.
For all the members who have attended physically, some of you were there online and you have patiently waited for the question answers and asked your pertinent questions.
Thank you, sir.
And Arvind has been very kind enough to answer them to our satisfaction. Now, I would like to start with my vote of thanks.
Thanks.
Respected CMMI office bearers, wardens, senior members, members of the shipping fraternity, and dear participants. It is indeed my privilege to propose a vote of thanks for today's session. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Captain Arvind Natarajan, fellow CMMI, AFNI, MCMM India, Master Mariner, and Senior Marine Advisor for leading today's session.
Thank you, sir.
And sharing his invaluable insights on the human element of at IMO. Thank you, Captain,
Thank you, sir.
for your time, effort, and thoughtful presentation in representing India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Our sincere thanks to Captain MP Basil, Master Chairman, for graciously providing us the venue and refreshments. As usual, he takes care of us very nicely, keeps everybody warm and filled with good food. Our sincere thanks to. I would also like to acknowledge the support of Marine Media, Marriott, Bhandarga Publications, Sailor Today, Sagar Sandesh, and Maritime Destination for covering this event and helping us reach the wider maritime community. A special word of appreciation to Captain Shashi Kumar, CEO, and our dedicated office staff, Sunil Palkar, Mr. Kumar, and for their efficient back-end support which ensured the smooth conduct of today's program. Finally, big thank you to each one of you, the participant whose presence and active involvement made this lecture meaningful and successful. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, please, sir, the president is actually Karti Captain Aniket Pradhan, who has been making venue, who has been handling everything, not me. So please join us.
What did you fight for the food?
Can I leave from this?
And also, thank you everyone online. Thanks a lot for being with us. We are going to close down now.
It is for the game.
Thank you very much. Keeping the scene.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Close. So leave. Oh, just we can stop. Close. Yes, close.
Look, I give
Sure, thank you so much. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming. Hey, I thought you asked questions, man. No, I really thought you would. You would. Thank you for coming. Huh? I know that. I was there online. He's the human factors guru. Human factors. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I came just to see you, man. Hey, come on. You can ask me questions.